Hello, and welcome to The Connection. This podcast is about understanding and building the connection we have with others and with ourselves. I hope that through this podcast, you'll be able to have more joy and fulfillment in your life. I'm your host, Jared Hurst. This week's podcast episode is a little bit delayed. I apologize. And it's because I was at an event in southern Utah called Yin on Fire. The way that I describe it is Yin on Fire is part personal development conference, part spirituality retreat, and also part concert. There was dancing from 9 until 2 every night. 2 a.m., that's right. I didn't dance till that late into the night. I ended up going back to my tent and sleeping, but it was a great experience. It reminded me a lot of when I went to my very first Tony Robbins convention. I remember it was 2018. My boss said that she was going to take our team to a Tony Robbins convention. And at the time, I didn't know much about Tony Robbins. All I knew is that my sister-in-law had been going to Tony Robbins, and she came back and became vegetarian because of it. So in my mind, I'm going to go to Tony Robbins and they're going to try and convince me to be a vegetarian. I ended up going to that, and it was one of the most pivotal experiences of my life. And this was similar. This was a really similar experience. I wasn't quite sure what to expect because there is kind of a hippie vibe, and there's a lot of things that some people might find reservations about. Because I think it's just because it's not understood. I was talking with a friend about this, and when you look at people that are on the spiritual plane, people that believe in manifesting, people that are into yoga, people that are yoga is more mainstream, but there's things like that. People that are energy and crystals and oils and all these wonderful things. When you see it in movies, when you see it in television, a lot of the times they don't paint those individuals in the greatest light. They paint them as being kind of crazy. So I went into it not really knowing what I was going to experience, and I was blown away. The people were so beautiful, so loving, so kind. I don't think there's anybody that I waved to or said hello to that didn't at least give me a smile and a nod back. But most people stopped and talked with me and asked me about my life and told me about theirs. I had random conversations with people. I'd be talking with one person and somebody else would hear us talking and just come in and start chatting with us. It was really beautiful. Now, I know some of you aren't extroverted and that might not sound great to you, but I think what it was is everybody there was open with their walls down, being themselves. Everybody felt safe to be authentic, and so my authentic self came out, and I started being my gregarious, happy, friendly self to everybody I met. And other people, I would imagine, were more reserved and didn't have the same experience as me. But they were like that because here we are, a collaborative group of people, all with similar interests, all with similar energies. And it just made it to where everybody could feel natural. I loved it. It was great. While I was there, I had some really incredible experiences. And one of those is what I want to talk with you today about. And that is that you deserve love and success. You deserve love and success. You may not feel like this applies to you. You may not immediately say, well, yeah, of course I do. Maybe that's what you say. As soon as you hear, I deserve love and success, you're like, yep, I do. So maybe this podcast isn't for you, I don't know. But I would imagine that most of you have some voice in your head that tells you that you don't deserve certain things. I believe I heard a statistic once that said about 70% of the people in the world have or can relate to the feeling of not being enough. Think about that. I am not enough. Is that something that you feel? I know I've felt that at times, though maybe those words didn't necessarily resonate with me at times. But the general concept of I'm not enough in some way, shape, or form has been there. And I know talking with other people deal with that as well. So, what does that have to do with being deserving of love and success? As you know, if you've been listening to my podcast for any length of time, you know that I have been in this quest to love myself fully. Knowing that there was something missing from my life and that the thing that I needed to change most was to learn to love myself. And I've been doing it. I've been doing all these things to help myself feel more love and appreciation and compassion for myself. I've learned to work and manage my emotions at a much higher level than I used to. Still have some struggles there, but it's a process. I have worked on being compassionate with myself. I feel like I'm incredible at that now. I've worked through issues with getting frustrated and triggered and angry. I'm definitely a lot better at that. So I've done all these things in order to help love myself and appreciate myself. But there's been something that I just found through this process that I was missing. When I look at relationships, or when I look at friendships, or life in general, there's times when I look at those situations and I don't feel deserving. I don't feel like I'm valuable enough. I look at attracting a partner and I look at my life and I say, well, I have a lot of love. I have what I consider an intelligent mind. I have a great memory. I'm compassionate. I'm thoughtful. I have some really great qualities. And you do too. I'm not trying to sit here and brag. I'm just pointing out my qualities. So those are things that I love about myself, that I believe in myself. But then there's other areas of my life that I don't feel very valuable, that I don't feel like I have a lot to give. And so at times I don't feel deserving of having the type of people that I want in my life. And I imagine you might be able to relate to that. That there's times that there's things that you feel like you are not enough. You feel like there's something that you still need to build within yourself. And it makes sense. Look at the world that we live in. The world that we live in is completely based on value. If something is valuable, we pay more money for it. If something is valuable, we pay more attention to it. Our whole life is about attention. Social media, marketing, advertising, everything is about money and dollars and all these things. From the time we were a little kid, we are constantly being bombarded with the idea of value. I was reading this book and they were saying, as a baby, you look at a baby and there's nothing that you feel that baby needs to do in order for it to be lovable, in order for it to be deserving of love. And they asked the question, they said, at what point do you decide that you need to earn love? And I thought about that. And I thought back to my childhood, and it's really easy to look at it that way. When you do certain things, you receive love and affection. And when you don't, you get punished. That is there in all walks of life. I'm not just talking about parenting. I mean, just look at the world around you. It's full of rewards for certain behaviors and punishments for others. And so it's really easy as a little kid to start thinking to yourself, I have to earn my love and affection. And if I am not of a certain quality, if I am not enough, then I don't deserve to have those things. But you do. You do deserve to have those things. I remember 5 years ago, I was reading this book, and it said in the book that everybody is deserving of love. And I thought about it, and I struggled with it a little bit. because I had a hard time with people that are mean and cruel. But I thought about it and I decided, you know what? If I knew their experience, if I knew everything about their background, then I could be compassionate for them. And I would feel that they deserved to be loved. So I was able to wrap my head around the idea of being deserving of love. But then, when I look at things like being deserving of success, being deserving of having the things that we want in life, feeling adequate and worthy of those things, that was another roadblock for me. I started looking at it, and it's really easy to sit there and look at our lives and say, I have to have value. If I'm not valuable, then I don't get to have these things. And when we look at life and we look at what it takes to be valuable, there's certain traits and certain attributes that get promoted really easily. I'm attractive, therefore I'm desirable, therefore I'm valuable. I'm intelligent, therefore I'm valuable. I'm successful, and I have a lot of money, therefore I am deserving. There's things that we look at and we say to ourselves, well, I don't have those traits, therefore I am not valuable, therefore I do not deserve these things. And it was hard for me to try and look at that in the right light. And I went back to an analogy that I had heard a long time ago. I actually kind of made it up based off of some other things that I heard people say. And that is, imagine that I have a group of people, 100 people, and I put in front of them two vehicles. I say, you get to pick one vehicle. And on one side, I have a brand new Corvette. On the other side, I have a brand new Lincoln Navigator. Lincoln Navigator, I believe, could be wrong, sits 8. But let's just say it sits 7. And the Corvette fits 2, if you're lucky. It does fit 2. People are going to pick one or the other. I don't know how that 100 people would decide, but it would not be 100 for one and 0 for the other. It would be divided because certain people would see the value in different things. Some people would love the speed of the sports car. Some people would love the towing capacity and the seating capacity of the Navigator. So does that mean that the Corvette is not valuable because it doesn't have the towing capacity and the seating capacity? No. Just because you lack something does not mean that you're not valuable. Just because you lack something does not mean that you're not valuable. Well, you might look at your life and say, well, Jared, I do have some traits, but they're not that great. Bull crap. You have incredible things that are just uniquely you. And if anything in this world of value, you can see that something that is unique and one of a kind is valuable. We show it all the time. Here's the thing. There's around 8.2 billion people on this planet. 8.2 billion! I remember when it used to be 6. Or at least that's what they always said. And out of those 8.2 billion, and whatever number of people that have come before that, and whatever number of people come after that, you are one of a kind. There never has been, is not, and never will be somebody else exactly like you. You are unique. And you are beautiful. And that makes you both lovable and deserving. Everybody, everyone is a beautiful soul. There are those of us that have been hurt and have chosen to use that pain in not so great ways. I'm not saying that there aren't bad people out there, but I choose to believe that everybody deep down is a beautiful soul. And as such, is both deserving of love and deserving of the things that they desire in life. Are there some requirements for that? Yes. We have to make effort. We have to have a vision and go after it. Things don't just fall into our laps. Sometimes they do. But there are thresholds to achieving certain things. But don't let the idea that you don't feel you deserve something keep you from taking action. I have noticed with people, with myself, that when we do not feel that we deserve something, we start feeling resistance to it. You may not notice it. Maybe you're trying to, pick something. There's something in your life that you are trying to accomplish. And whenever you go to take action towards it, you find yourself getting distracted. Or maybe you find yourself scrolling on social media. All of a sudden you do to-dos and things that you've been putting off. That is an internal resistance to succeeding at the thing that you desire. One, fear. Because you're worried. It's the unknown. It's uncertainty. Those things are scary. But there may be something deeper, and it may be that you don't feel you deserve it. We end up living to the levels that we feel we deserve, to our standards. We have standards, and that's what we get in life. But Jared, my standard is this, and I don't get that. Is it really? If something is your standard, you do what it takes in order to live at that level. You see it. I know somebody, and their standard is millions of dollars. And when they're not in that space, they find a way to make that space. There's people like that. And the world has taught us what we deserve. Or our perspective has taught us what we deserve. So how do we know that because we deserve love, because we deserve success, what do we do in order to help rewrite that part of our mind, the way that we look at ourselves? And this retreat really helped me to embody that at a new level. I'm working really hard to internalize my beauty, to internalize my attributes and my greatness, the things about me that make me amazing. Because you have stuff that makes you amazing, and I have things that make me amazing, and everybody has things that make them amazing. Think about every single person you've ever loved. Romantic, platonic, whatever it might be. When I look at each one of those individuals, there is something about them that I love that the other ones do not possess. There is something about my daughter Caitlin that Allie doesn't possess. There's something about Allie that Caitlin doesn't possess. There's something about my mom, my dad, every single person in my life that I have ever loved has something unique and beautiful about them that I have loved. And you do too. So, here's what I've been doing, and here's what I would recommend you do. This is a tool that you can take in order to help you feel more deserving of love, affection, and more deserving of the things that you want in life. And that is to pour into yourself daily. Each morning, look at the things that you need and pour into those areas. There are hints, things in your life, evidence that you can look for that will show you what areas you need to pour into. Whenever I have not been in a relationship, I have done everything I can to get into a relationship. This is the first time in my life that I have not been rushing into a relationship. And it was because I recognized that was an unhealthy coping mechanism. Because I used my partner as a means of validation for the areas that I struggle. Having somebody lust after you does not mean that you're sexy. Having somebody pay attention to you does not mean that you're interesting. Having somebody give you affection does not mean that you're deserving of love. A lot of the times we go and we surround ourselves with things and individuals in order to fill the gaps in our self-esteem. Start looking at your life and you will see it. So find those areas where you are using other things in order to fill the holes in yourself. And then give that to yourself every morning. Every morning. If you look at our life, our mind, it's like a program. It's like a big computer. And it has software in it. And that software creates the standards of our life, our beliefs, and our identity. We've talked about this a lot on this podcast. Well, your beliefs and your identity determine your emotions, your actions, your thoughts, everything like that. And when you go to sleep every night, it's almost like somebody resets all the defaults. So if you have a default of believing you're attractive, more than likely you wake up feeling attractive. If you have a belief that you're not interesting, more than likely you wake up every morning feeling like you're not interesting. So there's a portion of your self-esteem that gets broken down every night while you're asleep. And by every experience that we see that reconfirms those negative beliefs. So every morning, start thinking about all the incredible things about you that make you amazing, that make you one of a kind. Start giving yourself in all the areas of your life where you have been searching for it from other people. Build that foundation in yourself, on yourself, in every area of your life, and rebuild it every morning until you have changed the way that you look at yourself, until it becomes a permanent part of your program. And in addition to that, start telling yourself that you deserve the things that you want. Start telling yourself why you deserve the things that you want. All those incredible attributes about you, all of those things that you love and care about, and all the things that are unique and beautiful about you, they are why you deserve to be able to have success. Everybody is deserving of the things that they want in life if they put forth the effort in order to have those things. There isn't something about other people that makes them deserving of living their dreams and makes it so you are not deserving of living your dreams. Everybody has insecurities. I know as you listen to me and you listen to the podcast, a lot of the times I'm vulnerable and I talk about my insecurities. And it might seem like, wow, Jared's got a lot of stuff he's dealing with. Everybody has a lot of things that they're dealing with. They just don't share it. Just because I share some things about myself that are insecure doesn't mean I don't have a side to me that is incredibly confident and believes in myself. Which one are you going to feed? Are you going to feed the part of you that is insecure and doesn't believe that it deserves the things that you want to have in life? Or are you going to feed the part of you that believes in yourself, that feels worthy, that feels deserving, and the part that is confident, and grow those so that you do feel like you can go after what you want in life? It's time for you to decide. I believe in you. I know you can do it. And until next week, remember that you are not alone.